I bid you all good morning, good evening, and good night, wherever you may be watching this transmission. Thanks for joining us on Morning Coffee with Mike. Today is Friday, April 1st, 2022. Yes, Friday, April 1st. It's April Fool's Day. Welcome to another action-packed morning show. We try to keep it PG on here because you can't really say anything on the YouTube platform, but we're going to get this out there on other platforms too, to spread the word. So tonight's big story, what are we talking about this morning? Today's big story, I keep thinking I'm on Mike in the night. Today's big story, we need to cover this, and it's about time. This is a good one because the American real estate bubble is finally mentioned by the Federal Reserve researchers. Wow. Can we get a round of applause? Let's Oh yeah. It is about time they're announcing this, because what does this mean for the rest of the Commonwealth? What does this mean for the English-speaking countries that have been plagued with money laundering, forward investing, laundering money through casinos, laundering money through colleges, laundering money through every means possible, destroying the fabric of what used to be Canada, or the fabric of what Canada used to be, what these blue states originally stood for. A lot of these blue states stood for more than what they're promoting now, and what this whole movement into transhumanism and making us more robotic, if so to say, or destroying. Yeah, I'm not going to get into that right now, but we'll get into that on Mike in the Night with your calls. So let's go into full screen here. The American real estate bubble is finally mentioned by the Federal Reserve, says researchers. The U.S. real estate is in the first bubble since the Great Recession. I don't know about that. And they might actually address it this time. But you know what? I think it's in its third because of Amerifornia and the spillage. So let's kind of inform you guys on what I'm talking about here. So Amerifornia is basically America turning into California. Unemployment skyrocketing, opioid, fentanyl deaths, money laundered through housing and all that kind of stuff. And it's happening across America, and people mass exodusing the blue states and destroying the red states. And that's what's happening. And that's what the ultimate plan is for the New World Order, or the agenda, or it's not the law of the jungle. It's a New World Order. If you remember George Walker Bush saying that at the World Economic Forum. Okay, so here it is. China is destroying American middle class via housing affordability. Amerifornia is raging across America. And wake up, America. Amerifornia is here. Americans, wake up. It's happening in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, and the UK, and Jamaica. And Chinese buying up the US and Canada. We knew that they've been buying up Canada for years. And with money placement. Amerifornia is here. A Biden win, say hello to Amerifornia. And goodbye Taiwan, all here. So this is something. American housing exploding, 38,000 per month. We made that 10 months ago. Everything else is a year plus 2 years ago. And that is what's happening right now. That is what is transpiring in America. But it's kind of funny that they kind of want to start mentioning it on a bigger level, where they're going to make an announcement. We revealed a little known model from the Dallas branch of U.S. Federal Reserve showing U.S. Housing in a bubble. So we actually talked about this a few days ago, this bubble, and we were talking about the Texas housing market too. Central bank researchers maintain a model as early warning system, allowing policymakers to pop them early. So basically, it's about raising interest rates, getting the deregulated banking system back on regulations to protect the American proper, or the small fries that don't want to worry about what their banks are doing to them because they have lives to live. Right. The average Joe Donuts. Right. Researchers behind the model finally commented on it, confirming it's a bubble. So let's open that right here. They're confirming it is a bubble. And there it is. I think we read this one too. Real-time market monitoring finds signs of brewing U.S. Housing bubble. So this is very important, because this is going to affect every American citizen. And to provide Market Diagnostic, the Dallas Fed's International Housing Price Database team, in partnership with the network of scholars from around the world collaborating under the International Housing Observatory. Remember those guys? Remember those guys that were mentioning on what's happening in affordability in Canada? Most people in Canada now are Canadians that were educated here, are living in poverty right now. Produces data sets and statistics that characterize potential market exuberance. The methodology uses novel statistical methods to continuously monitor housing markets. So we talked about these guys before on the channel, and there it is. This is what they're monitoring here. And again, this is when basically the new president-elect in the United States got selected into office, and that's what we've been calling him for the last 2 years anyway. November is midterm elections, so guys, watch out. I've been telling people to get out of the blue states before the midterm elections because I have a feeling something's going to go down. I mean, call me whatever you want to call me, but I just got this bad feeling about something. So, U.S. real estate is officially in a bubble. So the U.S. Federal Reserve researchers found home prices are rising much faster than fundamentals. What do they mean? It's out of reach from average wage earners, and wages aren't tied to real estate anymore. Wages in Canada have not been tied to real estate in over, I think, 13 years now in Canada. Canada opened up its doors during the 2010 Vancouver Olympics and basically told everyone, come and place your money here. It's not money laundering. It's all good. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering. Look it up. U.S. Federal Reserve researchers, so there it is, our home prices are rising much faster than fundamentals. The exuberance, remember the exuberance index? We made a whole video about this, describing or talking about when you got a couple of quarters that make up, I think it's 4 quarters. Once you get 4 quarters in of a trend, it actually becomes a thing where you might get 1 quarter where housing doesn't really plateaus and goes back down, or people start losing jobs, or there's a war, or something happens, right? Then when it's 4 quarters, you start realizing that it is a thing, right? U.S. housing logged a 6th quarter of exuberance in Q3. 6th quarter, wow, 2021. Once a 5th quarter of exuberance is logged, the whole market is considered to be exuberant. An exuberant market is better known as a bubble. So there it is right there. So how many months? So 5 consecutive quarters. Sorry, I thought it was 4 quarters, guys. It's 5 consecutive quarters to be exuberant. Maybe Canada and Australia is 4 quarters. I don't know, but yeah, it's 5. I'm sorry. So there it is right there. Let me put this on full screen for you guys living in the United States. This is a very big deal, and this is going to be coming, and it's going to be sweeping, and this is going to be causing a huge catastrophe. In Canada, you don't even want to see what this looks like in Canada. It's nuts. And this is an article from our friends here from Better Dwelling, by the way. The U.S. real estate bubble is confirmed by other measures as well. So again, exuberance level was designed in the early warning system. We discussed that already. U.S. real estate is FOMO-driven, not low-rate driven. So there it is, fear of missing out. Now let's go into the channel Time Machine and see what we've been talking about here for a long time. So this is what happened in Seattle when Vancouver put its foreign buyers tax in. Vancouver, Canada put in a foreign buyers tax to deter Chinese foreign investing and money laundering. Chinese housing wave tsunami has hit Toronto and Seattle. There it is. This is my opinion from 5 years ago. Yes, it has. The wave has hit. Hope you bought last year. Chinese money is leaving Vancouver and heading for Seattle and Toronto. Everyone in the middle class or working poor will be wiped out. What else do we talk about here? Lots of housing. Seattle, Portland, California, Nevada, Texas, 3 years ago. Investors fleeing Toronto to Seattle 5 years ago. So this is something that's been happening in America, and it's been brewing for a while. And then under the Trump presidency, there was a delay. There was a kind of a pause in money laundering and money washing up on American shores and black rocks and black stones and all that crap. It's been taking its time. Now it's basically come in full resurgence, and it's full blast, right? And what else we got here? Americans fleeing expensive cities. Portland housing market severely unaffordable 4 years ago. So this is important because if we don't get to the root of the problem or historical root of the problem, blue state exodus 2 years ago. If you are a blue leaning California who wants to escape the Golden State's drift into madness, but stay on the left coast, Oregon might be reasonable alternative. So there it is. Now, there it is right there. So let's go back. So now what are they monitoring? What are they talking about here? Key indicator hints America is headed for its worst real estate crash in history. And that's from a few weeks back. And it goes in to say right here, the following the 2008 stock and real estate market crashes and Federal Reserve Democratic-led Congress and the presidential administrations of George W. Bush and Barack Obama began an unprecedented effort to pump new dollars into the financial system and, to a lesser extent, the economy at large. And it goes in to say, when interest rates are kept low, it's easier for governments to spend more money than they take it in because debt is cheap. So they've been running the debt bubble, and I believe that right now America's going into its third debt bubble on top of a debt bubble, if that makes any sense. Inflation soaring, rents and the housing crisis. So although gasoline prices get most of the attention in reporting on inflation, there is another element that's pushed the numbers up. Soaring rents for housing, and even if rent increases slow down, our affordable housing crisis will continue due to the lack of housing supply and precedent low incomes. So we talked about empty homes. I believe the supply and demand issue is being driven by empty homes. Foreign investors buying entire towers in New York, entire towers. Investors from China buying a whole tower in downtown Manhattan and leaving it empty. And that causes a strain. It causes a fake supply and demand issue, which we talked about here on the channel for a long time. Let me go here because none of my videos come up when you look them up. So supply and demand. Actually, let's look up FOMO first. FOMO is major. So there it is. Say no to FOMO 3 years ago. The realities of FOMO 3 years ago. FOMO, the fear of missing out, 4 years ago. And we talk about the world's 10 least affordable housing markets, including San Jose. So it's pretty much the blue states that are basically doing money placement that have been damaging for years and then forcing the people living in the blue states into the red states and causing this massive unaffordability level. Vancouver housing crisis, what a mess. Trigger-happy investors equals FOMO 4 years ago. So, I mean, this is something that we've been talking about on this channel for years. And I bring this up because nobody even watched any of these videos. These videos are unwatched because of our heavy shadow banning on YouTube. Okay, so what are they saying here? Well, here it is. War in Ukraine is partially to blame for the extreme shortage of U.S. homes for sale, Redfin says. Now they're blaming the war in Ukraine for the housing issues that they're having. So there it is right there. It's almost so hard to believe. It's so hard to digest. It's so hard. They're trying so hard to hide the fact. Like you want to look at what happened in Canada. Right here. And I hope they never take this article down. Canada was so heavily dependent on money laundering, so here it is. Canada would be in a recession without money laundering, and then a lot of it's from mainland China, basically parking their money. Here it is in the hundreds of billions from 2011 to 2015 by province, and this is what Canada's economy has been built off. It's been built off real estate. It's been built off exporting homes to Chinese investors, and that's it. That's where our fundamentals and where everything lies. Canada used to produce a lot. Canada used to produce its own honey at one point. Canada used to produce its own, exporting its own honey, exporting its own minerals, exporting its own. Now, a Chinese company would come in, buy the oil company or buy the coal company or the gold company or the lithium ion company. The Chinese company would come in and buy it, hire their own people from China, And in Canada, right, they've done it across Africa, they've done that across South America, they even did this in Jamaica. And basically use the profits that they make hauling and doing what they have to do, and then reinvest it into our housing. And they do it through fentanyl sales, right? Fentanyl and opioids that come in from mainland China. Factories that are owned by the Chinese Communist Party. Oh wow, we finally got, like, I think it was 4 people watching right now. That's really good. And that's the intro story I wanted to throw out there with you guys, because America's finally admitting that it is in a bubble. And that's kind of important. I kind of want to throw that introduction story out there. I'll do an introduction story when I can in the mornings, and then go into headlines and news there. If somebody wants to throw a comment in the live chat, I'd like to know if there's anybody out there actually could hear me properly, and I'm not talking in the wind here. I would really appreciate that very much. Okay, so there it is right there. Admitting they're in a problem. And what does this mean when they admit they're in a problem? Well, they're going to have to raise interest rates. Canada's going to have to follow suit. And Mike, they've already raised interest rates in Canada. No, they're going to have to raise it a few more percentage points to hedge against the inflation, right? And that's something we've been talking about on the channel, hedging against inflation. And inflation is a big deal because they've been trying so hard to hide the facts of double-digit inflation. Double-digit inflation ahead. Who do we blame? 5 months ago. You're getting the taste of inflation. Morning Coffee with Mike 5 months ago. Let's go years ago. Let's find years ago. Inflation will be the death of us. Morning Coffee with Mike 9 months ago. Toronto needs more money laundering. That's 4 years ago. The Vancouver method of money laundering that is highly used in Vancouver. The model uses casino gambling as a way for foreign domestic criminals to launder their money. Biden blames everything and everything on runaway inflation. Massive inflation in Australia ahead. Youth to suffer. Mass exodus of families. There it is, 4 years ago. So, look, Mike of the Night, inflation to the moon, a year ago. So, there it is. It's something that, here it is, the Great Canadian Peso. It's all coming, folks. It's all coming. And it's all designed to impoverish and punish the middle class. Okay, we got people in the comments. There we go. We don't get a lot of people. Nobody gets notifications here on YouTube, unfortunately. So it's and other platform. We do our Mike of the Night on Odyssey. Search for the Truth is on his lunch break. Thanks for joining us. New carbon tax today. We talked about it yesterday, day before, 3 days before. And no, it's not a April Fool's joke. So we'll get into that right now. It's a big story. Ukraine's war. Russia says a foreign currency can still buy gas amid Putin ruble payment threat. Again, they're going on pushing towards a gold-backed currency. Gaddafi did it. Saddam Hussein did it. Bashar al-Assad did it, and all those countries basically went against the American industrial complex, oil baron. So what else we got? Globalization over thanks to Ukraine war, declares top economist. So what is he saying here? He declared that globalization is now over thanks to the ongoing war in Ukraine. Instead, the economist believes that the current economic world order will be replaced by a multilateral system with regions breaking off into distinct economic blocs dominated by the likes of the West, China, and Russia. The 30 glorious years of globalization are over, says Dr. Spengel reports, the prize-winning economist, saying, we have to bury the idea of a global market. Ever since the financial market crisis of 2008 and 2009, it has been clear that the hyperglobalization is over, he continued. At the least since Donald Trump's economic war and the Russian invasion, it has been clear that the new Iron Curtain will probably be lowered between the West and the Russian sphere of influence. Although the end of globalization has been predicted many times before, Flembarmeyer's warning matches those made by other groups and organizations with Russia's ongoing war in Ukraine, already causing serious issues for international trade. Again, this could be all a cover to blame broken down logistics, trade routes. This could be all a cover to blame inflation, to blame the hiding inflation they've been trying to hide. And what else is Breitbart? What are they? This one right here. Biden tells parents, affirm your teens going trans. Economic globalization over thanks to Ukraine war. Recession watch, yield curve inverted again. Yeah. Oh, yeah, then we got the sixth wave. Woo! Coming, the sixth wave. All right, so what is the CTV reporting? Pope Francis apologizes for Catholic Church's role in the Canadian residential school system. And that's something that's been ongoing for the last 2 years now. COVID-19 resurgence is underway in Canada. That's what the modeling indicates. No, it's not supermodels. It's what they are trying to sell us. Ukraine's strikes on Russia territory reported as talks resume. So this is obviously CTV News, Canadian-backed funded media owned by the basically taxpayers of Canada are paying for the CTV and the CBC and all these other crap accredited media stations, right? Okay, Russia. Lavrov beats India's Modi, appreciates its Ukraine view. Russia Foreign Minister Sergei Lavrov's trip comes amid pressure on India to economically isolate Moscow. Again, they've been trying to isolate Moscow from India and China from India. So, deteriorating liberties report on Hong Kong outline truth, U.S. top envoy. Again, legal experts call on officials to promote merits of Hong Kong system. Well, we know what was happening in Hong Kong in 2018, 2019. People were protesting because they didn't want to be under Chinese communist rule, or they wanted to see if they could create an independent nation aside from China and its elite ruling BS communist class. And that's what triggered, obviously, pulled the trigger on the you-know-what to shut down the world. Chinese foreign minister says no one has the power to divide the G20. So there it is there. And wow, I got 12 people watching. Woo! Thanks, guys, for tuning in. All right, let's roll on in right here. What is Australia reporting? Australia's new slap in the face to China. There we go. I told you guys, Australia is building defenses against China. Australia has turned its back after China sanctioned Australia. China expected Australia to fall to its knees and beg China for now. Australia turned around. That's why Australia's housing market is in shatters right now. That's why Australia is raising interest rates. That's why Australia is building a nuclear submarine base in Darwin. That's why Australia is ramping up, because it knows the threat from China is real, and they ain't playing with the future of their country. Canberra and New Delhi are expected to sign a free trade agreement that will boost exports from Australia to India by at least $45 billion. Good for you, Australia. Good for you. The people have been suffering for a long time in Australia with foreign money laundering and foreign investing and foreign takeover. WHO warns of worst-case COVID surge. Again, WHO is back in the news warning about a new surge, and they're going to keep pushing that. They're going to push small businesses to a brink of extinction, right? What is BBC talking about? Ukraine won't deny it attacked a Russian oil depot. Okay, so this is British Broadcasting Crap, another accredited taxpayer-funded media source from England. Zero Hedge. This is privately sourced or privately funded private media here. Ukrainian forces reportedly blow up fuel depot on Russian territory in a daring cross-border attack. The same sources have speculated that the attack might have been a false flag to justify escalation of the conflict and then push the price up of oil, right? And inflation and transportation and our food. Jen Psaki reportedly in talks to leave the White House for a lucrative gig at MSNBC. Woo! Truckers' stocks plunge after first post-COVID job losses as freight recession looms. Now they're calling it a freight recession. Typical trucking cycle is 3 years, and usually what kills it is oversupply. Too many trucks chasing high-paying spot freight and high load volumes. There's the moving average. Oh yeah, this is the okay. No. So that's an advertising there for you guys. House GOP investigating Twitter and Facebook for censoring Hunter Biden laptop story. Again, this is something we've been talking about for years on the channel. So 2 years ago, once that laptop appeared at that computer repair center there down in the United States. Yeah. Fauci flashback. The most potent serum is getting infected yourself. So that's what Fauci's there. Look how young he is there back in those old, 10, 20 years ago. True North, there it is. It's not a joke. It is not a joke. True North is reporting something here. Let's full screen this for you guys to see with your own eyes. Not a joke. On April 1st, taxes on gasoline and alcohol increase. Members of Parliament get a raise. Yeah, we covered this yesterday, but we're going to talk about it again. So, Canadians may think this is some sick April Fool's Day prank, but taxpayers can expect to pay more at the gas pumps and for alcohol on Friday, which is today. Politicians in Ottawa give themselves a hefty pay raise. Again, politicians need to kind of coincide with inflation, double-digit inflation. So politicians are the ones that are actually gonna survive this inflationary period because they just print more money and pay themselves more money. But they come after the little guys. They come after the little people by shutting down our businesses, and they don't have to fund. The private sector, the small businesses no longer need to fund the public sector. They're just going to print more money, sell more homes to Chinese investors, launder more money, and they're going to get by like that. They're just going to get by like that. And the Canadian proper suffers, right? All right. Italy ends its COVID-19 state of emergency after 2 years of authoritarian rule in Italy. Wow. Jen Psaki set to leave Biden White House for MSNBC. You know, one acting gig after another. More acting, IMF warns that Biden's sanctions on Russia threaten the dominance of the U.S. dollar. That's correct. And Americans pay more for stuff, right? Boston's Mayor Michelle Wu jokes about white people, pushes random mandates, and then requests a law to stop protesters at her house in off hours. So, yeah, you're going to get a lot of people like this that are going to basically destroy the fabric of America. And unfortunately, it's the Americans and the Europeans that built the infrastructure. It's really sad how the fabric of America is being destroyed. And it's destructive to the world. It's destructive, and it's almost like it's illegal for a country to have its own culture. When we came here from Portugal, we were like, yeah, let's understand the Canadian culture. Let's find out what Canada is about. Let's understand what it means to be Canadian. You know what I'm saying? And when I lived 5 years and change in the United States, it was the same thing. I wanted to know what it meant to be an American. I wanted to know, what America is. I wanted to be American. I wanted to live in America. I wanted to live in Florida. But my application was denied because I did it by the book. And a lot of people told me I should have illegally did it because if you did it illegally, you would have gotten citizenship. But I did it by the book, and it cost me a lot of money in 5 years of my life. But it was a good 5 years living in America. So there it is. It's just the fabric of let's do a little bit of backlash here. Jokes about white people. All right, so let's go into here and let's go to our channel time machine. Let's type in China. All right. 50. Let's make fun of what the communists are up to. 50 million empty apartments in China 3 years ago. China's household debt rises to record 2 years ago. Japan and America to close shop in China. What else we got here? China is destroying American middle class. Urgent. Australia versus China economic war. I told you guys this was happening. China's economy contracts for the first time on record. Sri Lanka wants to undo the deal to lease the port for China for 99 years. Good for them. China to launch a digital currency a year ago. Things are getting bad. China's destroying my community and next the world. 5 years ago. Is China to blame for Australia's housing crisis? Yes, it is. China is set to buy up the world. Why China could go to hell. China's 17 billion debt default. Let's see here. China with Pakistan. China testing drones with Pakistan. How long will housing crash in the West? Look at China 5 years ago. So, Canada is now China. In my opinion, this is a year ago. Canada is now an autonomous region of China. Used condoms repackaging racket busted in China. China to take over U.S. petrodollar a year ago. Keep your eyes on oil dominance because China is coming for total control. Saber rattling to the world. China's shipyards have launched a PLA Navy's first Type 075 amphibious assault. Canada needs more Chinese to cure economic woes. China buying up Canada. Ricky Spanish is suing China. China warns of possible armed conflict with the U.S. 83 tons of fake bars. China counterfeiting scandal. Seattle needs more Chinese. We could go on for hours and hours on this channel. There we go. Look, China versus Australia. Economic retaliation. See? China wants to hurt Australian companies. If countries continue to defy the Chinese Communist Party. Look at this. 5 years ago, China clamps down on banks moving currency overseas, impoverishing middle classes. China will own Canada by 2020. It's here, but if you can't see it. Australia clamps down on money laundering. Chinese retreat from Australian property market 4 years ago. China's social credit score 3 years ago. Why am I bringing this all up? Well, this kind of pissed me off right here. This article right here. Where Boston's mayor Michelle Wu jokes about white people, pushes random mandates, and then requests the law to stop protesters at her house on off hours. And the public, American taxpayers are paying for this. That's what you're paying for, people. And I've been warning about it for years now. I've been silenced on every platform for years now. I've been threatened for years now. I've got 7 notice of assessments in a term of 5 weeks. Not because I've defrauded the government from taxes. I always pay my taxes. It's because if I don't pay my taxes, they'll take everything I worked for and seize it in a day, in a heartbeat, to fund all these government workers that are destroying the fabric of who we are and what we're about and what we built. So I kind of wanted to throw that out there. I just wanted to kind of put that out there. And let's see what RT is reporting. What is Russia Today reporting? Foreign leased planes to be paid for in rubles. Okay. But the biathlon coach explains why he rearranged French flag into a Russian one. Russia responds after UK's plan for athletes to denounce Putin. So they want athletes to denounce Putin now? There's something big going on here, and that's why I've never taken sides on this. As much as I hate communism and what Russia did with this whole communist movement and stuff, and the Iron Curtain and the Soviet Union and blah, 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 as much as I hate communism and how they invaded, how they funded the Cubans to invade Portuguese Africa. Yes, Cuba invaded Angola and Africa. Portuguese Africa. As much as I hate that, I haven't taken sides. Russia will see record gas earnings this year. U.S. warns India not to help Russia to undermine the dollar. Again, the U.S. petrodollar is falling faster than anything. What else we got here? Pakistan summons U.S. envoy over Washington meddling in its affairs. Iran, China pledged to fight illegitimate unilateral sanctions. Minister, Iran's oil production has reached pre-sanction levels. Largest in the world, U.S. to build $537 million consulate in Nigeria. Why? There's so many people starving in America. So many people that could use a small business loan, even at no interest. You know, they could loan out 537 people $1 million apiece in America with good plans, with a good business proposal, with a good intentions in mind to hire people locally to build something. That's an investment that America should make. This is American policy, American foreign policy. But if American foreign policy could look at 537 Americans and give them $1 million with people that have a really good business proposal, something that's really going to make a difference and help others and create jobs in the private sector. It is a win-win for America if they do that. But building a consulate in Nigeria for $537 million is a joke. It's a slap in the face to the American people. So, I kind of want to throw this out there this morning for you guys. Guys, don't forget to join us tomorrow night for Mike in the Night on Odyssey. Let me open my little thing here for Odyssey. I want to get you guys, if you can, come and join us on Odyssey tomorrow night for Mike in the Night. I'm going to give you guys my channel. There it is there, Mike in the Night tomorrow night, if you guys want to join us. There it is. And, yeah, I'm going to wrap it up, guys. I don't have too many people watching here today, so I'm just going to wrap it up early. And, well, it's been 37 minutes of good discussion here. I hope everybody could take something away from this and try to make sense of what is happening here and kind of make sense of, you know, the position we are in. We understand it has a lot to do with foreign dominance, foreign interventions, foreign everything, and nothing is being kept local, and nothing is taken seriously local anymore. Anyways, guys, Mike Martin's here. I'll see you guys on the flip side. Thanks for joining me, being part of the channel, and liking and subscribing. And hopefully we can get this video out there to get people to understand, maybe shed some light. I know we got to wait for somebody big to say something, but I hope this gets heard loud and clear. Mike Martin's here, signing off for Friday, April 1st. I have spoken.